There's so much to be grateful for. And once that mindset shifts to gratefulness rather than resentment and bitterness, you can take care of your body more, your mental health more. And I don't know, it's definitely a process. It's not like you just become spiritually awakened and the next day for the rest of your life it's all good. It's definitely like a return to as often as possible state.
But I think I'll get one maybe soon.
Christmas time.
Yeah. My other one still works. I mean, Apple, it makes a fantastic product that lasts quite a while.
Yeah. Mine lasted a long time too. I think over 10 years I bought it a few years into its, existence. I bought it used. It like total lasted 10 years. And I mean, it still works. It's just really slow. I think over time, the processors start to kind of gunk up or slow down. And the brand new processors are super fast. So it's just a convenience thing more than a necessity, but like things open quick, like your internet browser, it restarts in, 10 seconds total instead of like 5 minutes sometimes. But
I know that you wanted it initially more ports, and that's why you liked the older version.
Yeah.
And they stopped doing as many ports. And I'm reading the book, the Steve Jobs biography, and it was him. He wanted like less ports and everything needed to be self-contained. He didn't want it to be compatible with other operating systems, even to the point where I'm at the, like 3/4 of the way through the book. And he didn't even want to sell them at stores where they're selling other computers, because if it's sitting next to a Dell or a HP computer, it's twice the price. Right. And if the salesperson doesn't know how to explain why the Apple is so much better, the buyer is just going to buy the cheaper version probably, or cheaper option. So, but the ports, does this new computer have a lot of ports?
It does, and it actually has HDMI as well, which they had moved away from, but I'm sure they got a lot of flack because HDMI is still like a massive, convenience.
Nice. Yeah,
totally. So they brought HDMI back, which is great. The last generation, I think, didn't have it, but you could still get like an adapter to get HDMI to work, but it should just work. So it's interesting how they try some things and then it's like, nope, that one didn't work, so let's give it back. But it does have new ports, but it's weird because I think they're called USB-C, so they're not the same USBs that we're used to. So you do need an adapter for those, but they are super fast. Like it'll charge my phone like twice or 3 times the speed of the old USB.
I love the super fast charging port, option, because I have 2 different chargers, and one is like regular where I put my phone at night, and one is I have out in the living room where if I need to charge relatively quick, I go ahead and put it on that one. Ben showed me that. We're here with Matt Humble from Time Wheel and Sheath.
Heyo.
Do you like the portrait layout, or do you like the landscape?
I think the other one looks a little... Yeah, that looks nice.
Yeah, that looks nice. And you can always adjust it, I think, if we wanted to. So thank you for joining me. It's been a long time. We need to do I know we do them like annually. Matt is co-owner of SheathUnderwear.com. You have to check it out if you've never seen it. That's what we try to promote on this podcast, but we also try to promote, success tips for in all areas of life: mental health, business, physical health, spiritual health. Matt's like a guru in the spiritual realm.
I'm definitely interested in spirituality. I'd say it's one of the main focuses of my life, and I didn't ever think that would be the case, but after a handful of experiences, you just can't deny that is a real part of having a good life. I think, it's like you can always get all the success, physical, mental, like money and all that, but if you're not happy at the end of the day, none of it matters, so it's just spirituality helps balance happiness with all the material things.
I need to get my shades on. But what about, so how does mental health and spiritual health and physical health, how do they all like intertwine, you know?
Well, I think spiritual health definitely gives a massive boost of understanding as to why your physical and mental health is so important, because you get a glimpse of what we actually are. Like, it's funny, like when we grow up, a lot of us think we're just, I don't know. It's like we don't see the specialness in being alive and being a human. It's just
Meat
like,
body.
yeah, if anything, we're usually like talking down to ourselves. We're not as good as them. We don't have what they have. Like, I'm a piece of shit. Like, I can't get a girlfriend. I can't get a job, or whatever it is. Like, whatever issue you're having, you're focused on like that negative thing instead of all the like things you do have and all the health that you have. And there's so much to be grateful for. And once that mindset shifts to gratefulness rather than resentment and bitterness, you can take care of your body more, your mental health more. And I don't know, it's definitely a process. It's not like you just become spiritually awakened and the next day for the rest of your life it's all good. It's definitely like a return to as often as possible state. And for me, it was first awakened through psychedelics. And for a while I was really, and I still do partake in psychedelics, but for a while I was thinking like that was the only way to do it, until I learned that, yoga and meditation and just ritual and like having a daily or a morning practice or routine can really start to bring you back into that as well. So that's something I've been doing like every day. I think we were just talking on the phone the other day. You haven't missed a day of meditation this whole year. I've only missed one day of meditation this whole year. And yeah, it's funny that, like it feels easy now to do that, where some people can't meditate for 5 minutes over the course of a year, and we're doing it every day, and it's easy, and we actually like to do it.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I actually wrote another reminder in my phone this morning because I meditated. And then I had do 1 minute of Tai Chi every day, which I see on my phone every day because it's a daily reminder, and I never do it. But the meditation I've been doing, and I want to do it more. I almost want to meditate like all day, which I know I can't do, but if I can do it, like stretch it from 15 minutes in the morning to another 15 minutes at night, and maybe, or 15 minutes in the afternoon. I really want to really devote myself more because I like the way it feels. I'm at peace. I think it's rebalancing my body. I just got this notification on my Sleep IQ sleep number bed that my heart rate during sleep is higher than other people my age, the average heart rate. And it's like, because it's like 75 beats per minute. And I'm like Googling what is an average heart rate. And I could and or should be closer to like 50. But I'm like, I meditate every day. I work out. Is it the nicotine, which is kind of a new ingredient in my like diet, if you will, which I kind of did it when I was in my early 20s, and then, but just at night. And then ever since actually it started during Sober October a couple years ago when I quit smoking weed. I like the inhaling aspect or whatever, like feeling smoke in my chest. Yeah. And so and then I got used to that, and I'm really leaning towards like in the new year, I'm going to try to shift away from that so much because it has, I'm noticing, you have to be self-aware that it's become an addiction, a problem. And a lot of people go through that and quit, but I'm hoping meditation can help me kind of at least balance out the harm for now until I'm ready. You got to kind of prepare yourself mentally to make a pretty big shift in your routine. So
yeah, actually I have something I'd like to recommend. I saw someone, I did a podcast that I'm actually about to release, even though I recorded it months ago, with this guy called Cal Callahan. He's an entrepreneur in Austin, and during our podcast he kept hitting this like volcano vape bag, And I could tell it wasn't weed because like he didn't look high, he didn't feel high. Like at the end of the podcast, I was like, "What were you hitting the whole time?" And he was like, "Oh, it's this amazing blend. Like I'll send it to you." So he sent me the link, and it's a blend of different herbs that aren't, nicotine or THC. But what he'll do is he'll put just the tiniest bit of actual tobacco in there as well.
Okay.
So I'm thinking he's probably putting like 5, strands of tobacco, which would be like one inhalation of a cigarette or whatever. But it created, first of all, it's vapor now and not smoke, but you still get the inhale, you still get the exhale. It's a thing, and it's such a small amount of nicotine. I can't really imagine it hurting, and it will definitely help wean anyone off.
Nice.
I don't have a Volcano yet. They're pretty expensive, but I at least want to get the smoking blend and like roll it into joints and just kind of see what the effect is. I haven't got it yet, but to me, it makes sense that it would be a healthier option, but you still get the fix if you like have 90% harmless herbs and maybe 10% tobacco. Like essentially that's way healthier than just straight cigarettes. And especially with it doesn't have THC in it, so you still get a buzz. And I think these herbs probably give you some type of a buzz because they're like known herbs that have been used in like Ayurveda and like just throughout history. Like one of them was like the blue Egyptian lotus. I think that's one of the several herbs that's in the spice pack. But yeah, it's like you still get the whole smoking thing.
Do you remember the link, or can we put it in the description or something?
I can definitely find the link in the next few seconds here.
Or while you look for that, I got this package sent to me by Yo Kratom. Shout out to Yo Kratom, the home of the $60 kilo. But in it had this box of Fume, which is like nicotine vapes. They're Cuban tobacco flavored, and it was way too strong. And the problem with it was I ran out of my whatever these are called, the Juul, right? And so I was smoking that, and then I think it might have messed up my tolerance even more. And so you got to be careful with these things. Because
I did find the link.
What is it?
Maybe you could even pull it up. We could look. But it's primalfusionhealth.com.
Primal Fusion Health.
Yeah. And then he said, I use all the tea and herb blends. They're specifically made for the Volcano. You'll need some tobacco. My favorite is Rest Rhythm, Dream Vision, Grounding, and Breathe.
All right, I'm going to share it. Here we go. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right, so you got to X out of this thing. Primal Pride, Dream Vision, Rest Rhythm, Energy. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing the different blends. I wonder if it feels good or like tastes good in your lungs.
I think it would. He's saying it's only for Volcano. I have a feeling you can just smoke it, but
yeah,
maybe we can read some reviews and see how people are using it.
Click here. Become a client, reviews. Let me go back to the top.
Yeah, what's the products?
Podcasts, articles.
I guess it's Herb Store at the beginning there. Yeah, okay, that's what it is.
Choose option. Full details. Let's see if there's any reviews down here. Highlights, scent, ingredients, details.
Let's at least say the ingredients. What does it say in ingredients?
Mugwort.
Damiana, mullein, organic rose petals, spearmint, colt's foot.
Colt's foot. That's like a baby horse foot.
Totally. But yeah, these are like things we've heard of over the years. They're herbs. Yeah, I have a feeling you can smoke them. I'm interested to see if somewhere on the site it says like do not smoke this and only vape it, but I mean I would like to vape it eventually. That's the healthiest option, but those Volcanos are $500 to $800, I think.
Okay, testimonials. We'll just real quick, let's see. Transform your health. looks like they're still like meditating and working out and being positive, doing some rituals around the fire, some nature, a lot of nature, ice baths. I need to do an ice bath. When's the last time you did an ice bath?
Last Thursday, and I might be going later today. I actually have to check, but I have a little story about the place we do ice baths now, which is it's called Evolve in San Antonio, and they recently marked my price down half because I've begun teaching yoga there.
Nice.
So they gave me half off. Yeah. It's interesting though, because the way that we're kind of framing it is that it's called Bodhishan yoga. So it's our own hybrid yoga of all the yogas we've ever taken.
Nice.
So there is like a large kind of Kundalini influence, but we don't exactly follow 100% the Kundalini, like method. Yeah. But we do use several of those exercises for sure. But just like, they have an exact way you have to tune in and an exact way you have to tune out, and don't change this or that or the other thing. Sometimes it's very like kind of prescriptive, and I like to have a little more of a flow. So I'm influenced by definitely Kundalini, but also Kriya yoga, which is Yogananda's yoga, which he made that really popular book, Autobiography of a Yogi.
Okay.
So his teacher was a Kriya yoga teacher, and it's all the same thing. Yoga is just, it's different schools, different leaders of thought, but it's all bringing you to the same place. So
breathing, that centering, like connecting the mind and the body. I guess I'm just
100%. Yeah, pranayama and asana. So pranayama is the breathing techniques. Asana is the posture. Mudra, which is the hand positions. Meditation, and mantra, which are sacred kind of sayings or even songs. They can be, sung in a kirtan fashion. And we combine all of these technologies, all of these methods into one hour experience. And if you do it well, it has really like a big effect on you. If you kind of half-ass it, you can kind of not feel that different after. But if you give it your all, like the more you put in, the more you get out, as with most things in life.
Yeah. I've been neglecting yoga, I guess. I don't know why, but I was doing it. I was using this app like Down Dog on my Apple iPod, but I'm just like, I'm meditating for sure, running, doing pull-ups and push-ups and curls and stuff, trying to stay physically fit. But I've slipped in my yoga practice.
Well, meditation is yoga. I think people, we often think yoga is only the handstands and the headstands and the down dogs and the up dogs.
Yeah, the down dogs, stretching.
That's actually preparation for yoga. So yoga means union, and that's when you find yourself in that meditative state of, there's no object, there's no observer, you kind of merge. That's the union, the merging. Yoga also means merging. So meditation is the actual yoga. All the stretches and stuff just get you ready to meditate. It more or less is like calming your body down to a place where you can enter meditation easier. So a lot of people do yoga for a long time just so they can learn how to meditate. And once they meditate, they don't have to do as many asanas. It's not like you can't, but you don't exactly have to. And like meditation is still yoga for sure.
I remember like at the end of every yoga session, you would get that shavasana, and then I guess that would be, but you're like laying there, so you're not really meditating, but you're very relaxed and sometimes even fall asleep. But then also the next class has to start, and so you have like your 5 minutes to lay there. I feel like that, in my mind, I did not really even incorporate meditation in with yoga. I just thought it was like the stretching, the relaxing of the body, and you could carry that on forward through your day. But there should be like, okay, a little a meditation room. Like, you guys got to get up and go, but you go sit in this other room while we start the next class. I just made that up.
But that's a great idea. Yeah, so like go into our rejuvenation station now while we get the next class in. But there is a yoga all around Shavasana, and it's called Yoga Nidra, and it's essentially a sleeping class.
Yes,
and it works. Like I went into like hypnosis more or less, and woke up an hour later and was like, "Whoa, what happened?" That was the fastest hour ever. But it's all about relaxation. It's like they lay you down and they're telling you to, soften each part of your body all the way down from the crown of your head to your toes. And they mention like every body part, like relax your fingertips, relax your wrists, relax your upper arm, relax your lower arm. Like they go through all of this, and you just like enter this really relaxed state. And then before you know it, you're waking up, and it's like, they're like, wake up now.
I've had that was suggested to me, over the years, because I've had sleeping issues, which I'm doing a lot better with. But yeah, and it helps. It totally helps with like the calming down of the body. You just have to sit there and kind of listen to it, and they lull you into a lullaby into sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I don't do that one too often because I'm a little more into like the charging, like the prana boosting, and then the meditation and the mantra, because it just really clears the cobwebs of the mind and helps you get out of any like mental thinking patterns that aren't for your highest good, essentially.
Interesting.
So I like that, and that's why I do it daily, is because it's easy to get caught up in too much stuff and be overwhelmed. And
what's a prana boosting like exercise?
Yeah, one would definitely be like the longevity kriya, which we've done so many times.
Put your arms out like that.
Yeah,
nasty.
And I don't exactly do that one anymore. I felt like I milked that one as far as I could. I did it for 40 days in a row, over 3 times, probably 5 times, maybe even more than that. So I did that one to death pretty much. But these days I'm doing one called White Swan Kriya, which is it's pretty easy. You just put your thumbs here at third eye point, and you just meditate for as long as you can.
Oh my God.
Eventually your arms become exhausted.
Yeah.
And you have to put your arms down.
I like that.
But it's really fun, and it feels good. It's doing something like linking the North and South Pole almost. They're not North and South, I guess you think East and West because it's left and right, but it's a weird feeling. You start to get this like charge and static and electricity between your thumb tips.
It looks cool.
Yeah, and it's fun, and that's part of yoga too. Is it's fun. It's an exercise.
It's like pushing yourself through that pain, though. I know with the longevity kriya, it's like 11 minutes of holding the pose with your arms at like 45-degree angles to the north and 45 to the south, I guess, in the back. And you think you could do it, and then after like 7 minutes, you're like, Jesus, this is.
You're like, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, and then you have to push through. But then when you finally let go, it's a relief.
Yeah, well, all that prana circulating, and you feel your internal nervous system. We usually don't ever feel that. I mean, maybe you feel it during working out, or like if you've went running for a long time and you're in that cool down. There's many ways to get it, but it's doing something for sure to bring a lot of electricity into parts of the body that it doesn't normally go. And it's awakening all these meridian points and all these, chakras, which people think of chakras as like only the 7 or 8 that are straight down the spine, but there's chakras all over the body. There's thousands of chakras. It's just about how kind of attuned you are to them. But those first kind of 7 that we think of are like the introductory chakras, like first grade chakras.
Yeah, I still work on those. You and I were talking briefly the other day on the phone about the third eye, or the center of the brain chakra. I don't know if
the Bindu.
The Bindu?
Bindu with a B.
Oh yeah,
I could actually probably show. I have the book right here.
Okay.
I could show you where it is, and it's really interesting because in Kundalini yoga, they never taught this point, which is why I like to explore different yogas. Because, they say Kundalini is like the most advanced, but it's kind of just hyping itself up in a way. I think they all have something special going on. But So let's see if you can see it.
Yeah, I mean, I see a triangle. Is it in the?
Yeah, it's that one in the center of the head.
Okay. So the center dot of those 3 dots.
Yeah. So it's trying to show you to bring your prana up from the base of the spine up to, the back of the head. You hit the throat too, but then once you hit, it's hard to point in reverse.
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but once you hit that point, you go into the head.
Yes.
And
okay.
A lot of times in Kundalini yoga, they stress the top of the head only, because it's like, what do they call it? I forget the name of. I know it's called the 1,000-petal lotus chakra, but they really put a lot of stress on like focus on the top of your head and like beam up. But they don't really talk about going into the center of the head. And I did it for the first time and had a really great experience. And I was like, wow, this is powerful. This is like a secret, like maybe they don't teach it because it's a secret, in Kundalini. It's like a more advanced version. But this book's called Kundalini Tantra, and it's not Kundalini yoga, it's Kundalini Tantra. It's drawing on the Kundalini energy still, but it's a whole different teacher, a whole different lineage. It has nothing to do with Yogi Bhajan, that is like known as like the main kind of teacher of Kundalini yoga in the West. But really, he just repackaged things that are ancient and brought it to the masses. Like that's the case with a lot of these things.
Like Wim Hof, I did some more Wim Hof, and I do it still very regularly, but not every day. Like I used to start my morning with Wim Hof breaths, and now I go straight into meditation, like basically right out of bed. That way, I don't know, it helps me wake up. And so did the Wim Hof breathing technique. But this morning I meditated, and then I did Wim Hof, and then I meditated a little bit more, and then I went and exercised, and then I came to do this podcast. But like in the sauna, if you will, you get so much more of an effect from doing like the Wim Hof, because your body's more relaxed. And I typically take like super hot baths, and I'll do it in there, but you have to be careful because you don't want to like pass out.
100%. Yeah, you gotta be really careful with that.
I have these little armrests, and every time I feel like I'm slipping into that DMT trip, when you're holding your breath after you've exhaled for the minute or whatever, you inhale and hold and squeeze, and then you like blast off. I put my arms on this rest because if I did slip, it would like hold me up a little bit. But I've never passed out. I've been doing ice baths, and I put it even closer to my front door now so that I can go like right into it, like either out of the sauna or the bath. And obviously, if your body temperature is raised significantly from the bath, you can go and get to the ice plunge, and it's a little easier to deal with. But also, it's like, whoa, I'm like on the verge of not being conscious.
Yeah. Well, your ice bath is so cold. It's like, I feel like you're getting this ultimate challenge, whereas we're getting in at 55 degrees. Steven's getting in at 45, but yours was like 39 the last time you saw, like, you checked the temperature. Those couple of degrees make a big difference, because I just tried to get into where Steven's at, which is 10 degrees colder, and it was like almost unbearable. I could only do 1 minute, whereas I can easily do probably 10 minutes, and even longer. Like once you finally acclimate, like it's easy to just keep going. The only reason you should get out is probably just for the health of your limbs, because the longer you stay in, you're not really getting that stress response benefit anymore. You're just kind of really cold. So I wouldn't say doing more than 10 minutes is really necessary unless you're trying to like do a world record like Harhari or something. But I don't think staying in too long is really going to give you exponentially more benefit. I think the 5 to 10 minutes is all you need. But yeah, I was recommending you warm that up just a little to get it to 45, because then you could stay in the full 5 minutes,
And I did that. I took like a bucket into my bath with me, so that whenever I went from my bath, which is like steeping hot, to the cold plunge, I carried the bucket with me, and then I poured the bucket in right before I got in there. But you're pouring 5 gallons into a 100-gallon tank, and I don't think it did anything. But I typically I'll wait till midday or after, where the temperature has risen up to about 45 degrees. If you look at one of my last kind of cold plunges, it might be on our TikTok or something. It was at 45 degrees, but some where I don't record them because I'm going straight from the bath into there and I don't have time to fuck around. And I typically, TMI, but I won't even like put underwear on. I go out at it's in my front, the front of my house, but I'll have the towel, and I kind of like shield myself from my neighbors while I dip down in there. That's awesome. And I did 3 minutes probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, right before a party. We were going to this masquerade ball gala. It's like a fundraiser for men's mental health. And I wanted to be like charged up, I guess. And so, and I did, and I know I stayed in there for a full song it was, some Lil Wayne.
Let's get down to business.
Exactly. And that helps you kind of just get through it. And I know I was up till like 2 a.m. that morning. You get like this, they say like a cocaine effect, all the endorphins and adrenaline. And
yeah, there's a big dopamine spike for hours after. I just heard Huberman.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah, just this morning he was talking about the benefits. It just came up on my YouTube algorithm that there's a massive dopamine spike for hours after you do an ice bath. And there's 2 reasons. One is, of course, the cold and the endorphins and all the stuff, but also doing something hard and accomplishing it makes you feel good about yourself. It gives you like a self-esteem boost. So that's another aspect to it.
I checked it this morning. My ice bath was at 37 degrees. I don't know if I'll do it today, but it doesn't circulate, and I'm staying like almost as still as I can possibly stay. Whereas, some of these regulated temperature ice baths have like a circulation. Does the one you go to at Evolve have like circulating water?
Yeah, it circulates. It's great, and it's interesting because Steven's always pushing me to get into the cold one, and I've gotten into the cold one once for 1 minute and once for like 2 or 2.5 minutes. I'm slowly getting there, and I think, as with everything, no one needs to try to do the hardest thing as fast as possible. Like, this is a journey, like build yourself up to a place where, because once you kind of do the hard thing and you're done with it, it's like it loses the excitement, like I feel like build up a little. I talk about that with psychedelics too. It's like you don't need to do the 5 grams as your first trip. Like, why are you rushing to like this like ultra high place? Like, enjoy this journey. Start at 0.5 gram. Then next time try 1 gram of mushrooms. I'm talking about, and then 1.5 grams, and then 2 grams, and slowly get up there. And it's way more responsible. You're gonna have like a much higher chance of having a great experience if you start low. And not like, oh, I've never experienced this before and this is way too much, and you get like tripped out in a bad way. I think with everything, just kind of slow but surely like get up there. It's almost similar with y'all's story about doing the marathon. Maybe you should have did a 5K and then a 10K, and then because y'all kind of broke yourselves trying to go all the way.
Yeah, that was insane. We did a marathon without training. The rock and roll marathon in San Antonio back in 2012 or 2013. And I'm finally back to being able to run, pretty consistently, but I definitely messed up my Achilles for quite a while.
Right. So like that training, it's fun, and I think it builds up this kind of like the role that we get on. And you don't have to rush to do the craziest thing, don't climb Mount Everest first, like start on Enchanted Rock, or something like that.
Right. You're like dipping your toe in the water, and you don't have to jump at the deep end yet right away. And you do build up a tolerance for the cold, whatever, the resistance, or I mean, they're called, it's like brown fat, so that you can withstand that stress of the cold at a higher level, you know, or colder temperature. So I kind of have to work with the temperature of the tub that I have, but I can also modify it, like you said, by dumping different, you know, water into it to increase the temperature. But I like to just, I almost don't even like to look at the temperature when I first get in, just because I get in and then I'll check the temperature while I'm in there, because if I look at it before I get in, it might be too intimidating, right? You're like, but it's been right around 45 degrees, between 40 and 45. And I'm doing like over a minute. I did 2 minutes the other day without the ice. I mean, without like the hot bath ahead of time. You just gotta, I don't know. I'm just building up.
Yeah.
Resistance.
That's definitely one way to do it, for sure. I like I think I said my tub is 55 because I can build up. Yeah, you can do it longer, and then you can build up the understanding of how it feels to the point that you feel confident going into the other one. Oh, and I'll mention, someone actually gave me this tip, and it's what helped me get into the coldest one at all.
Okay.
Because I tried to get into the coldest one, and I got out immediately. It was like, no, I felt like I was gonna die.
Yeah.
But what the trick was get into the 55 one first, acclimate there, and then jump into the other one. Since your body is already like really cold and acclimated to that, like the temperature change isn't so drastic. Wow. So that's how I was able to get into the cold one at all and do the 1 minute the first time and the 2.5 minutes the second time, is I would just hop from one cold to more cold, and it wasn't nearly the same level of shock, you know.
I've done that with the existing ice bath. I'll get in, I'll do a minute, and then I get out and I'm like, I didn't do it long enough. So I get back in, and for whatever reason, I guess it's a little bit easier, or at least I do a little bit more. I try to I always try to dunk my head at least real quick. I'll like get in, dunk my head, sit there. If you put your hands in, it's way worse. Yeah. I don't know why. And I do put my hands in, but sometimes not until like I've been in there for like a minute, and then I'm like, okay, now I can do this. I'm going to put my hands in. It's going to be way harder. Do you put your hands in every time? Yeah.
So my method is, you know, we hit the little timer. It says 10 seconds to go, and then it times for 5 minutes. At, you know, around 3 seconds, I just like get in and I go straight down to my neck in like 2 seconds. And then you just have to breathe, like powerful breath.
Oh, wow.
And after like 2 minutes, you're chill. You know, you're like, oh, this is fine. But I find getting in as fast as possible, submerging as much as possible, as fast as possible, it helps your body just kind of gives up. It's like, okay, well, I may as well just like learn how to deal with this, because you're in it, you know. There's like a slow, like, it's so weird. I almost get paralyzed the couple times I just tried to stand in it first.
Yeah.
Like the whole, like half your body being freezing is so much harder like to withstand than your whole body. For some reason, like my legs felt like they got stuck. Like I was in shock. Like I felt paralyzed for a second, and I was like, I don't like this feeling, you know. But when I get my whole body down and into it, I don't get paralyzed. It's just like submits to it, you know.
I think your veins constrict or something, and then because I did that too recently, I was like, I'm just gonna put my legs in today, and I got in there, and I was, instead of like put it like you're, you know, sitting on the dock of the bay with your legs in the water, I was standing, and it started hurting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It like hurts. It like freezes your nerves up or something. It's weird.
Right. So I got out, and then I was like, I'm not gonna do that again. I just got in. I just get in, and the longer you wait, the harder it is. So just don't think about it. Just go ahead and get in, because that's like the hardest part ish is getting in. Aside from, and I haven't felt this since like last year when I first really started doing it. I bought this big tub, and I'm like getting in with, it's like ice sheets, and kidneys or my organs would start like hurting bad. It was so weird. But now this year, the few times I've done it, like 5 or 10 times already, that doesn't happen anymore for whatever reason, which is interesting. So I've built up strength against that pain, at least in that area. It's still hard, but also like I heard something about it, and we could move past this topic soon, but you putting your face in under the water, it creates some kind of weird gasping response where you want to, it's like it freaks out your whole body. So I don't do that first, but I sometimes when I'm about to get out, I'll just do a quick.
That's what I do.
Okay.
As I'm getting out, I'll put because I actually need like earplugs if I'm gonna put my whole, or I guess I could hold my ears in, because I get water trapped in my ears easy. But so I will just dunk my face in, so I don't have to go under. But while I'm in the ice bath, I do make a conscious effort to like get the back of the head in. So I'll just kind of like tilt my head back, because I feel like that's where like our brainstem is.
Interesting.
And by submerging the brainstem instead of keeping the neck above water, I feel like it does something to the system, like the parasympathetic nervous system. And like, I don't know, I feel like that's a good place to submerge. In my experience, I always feel better when I do it. So
it's funny that we're like in this very like advanced technological society, and we're going back to the old ways of just techniques for, I don't even know, like strengthening the body. I know I saw this Japanese monk who would stand underneath a freezing cold waterfall, and he would just like stand underneath there for long periods of time. And there's something beneficial. I think it's just to deal with the stress of today's, like all the information and that we're constantly streaming in, and just trying to be successful, and like comparing yourself to all these other people who are doing a little bit better. And I try not to do that, but point is, if you can deal with the stress of an ice bath for 3 minutes, the rest of your day should be pretty easy.
Exactly. And that's the same concept with yoga and like the postures, like the longevity kriya I was talking about. If you can hold your arms like that, you can take anything that can come your way, like stress wise that day. And that was exactly what I was trying to say earlier about why I love meditation and how it frees my mind, is like that comparison mind. It's like, whether it be social media or just seeing like someone driving a better car than you, or like whatever it could be, it's like, that's useless for our mind to do that. And they say that comparison is the thief of joy. And I agree, because it's like we have so much to be thankful for, seriously, like on a crazy level, because we could be total freaking losers right now, like doing nothing.
Yeah, I could be a janitor, or I mean, no offense to janitors.
And no one's a loser, but I just mean in comparison to what we're doing, it could be so much worse. It could be so much worse. I think everyone's at a karmic place where they need to be, and I wouldn't ever call anyone a loser to like their face, but I just mean like to myself, I would feel like a loser. If I wasn't living up to my potential. And so I feel like we're living up to our potential and trying to stretch it even further, by doing all the things that we do.
Yeah, we're always pushing the boundary to become better people. And the comparison, one of the things that happens in life that is like inevitable at this point, and hopefully something will change, is you get older and you're reflecting on like when you were younger, or decisions you could have made when you were younger. Like, because I remember I turned 21 and I was in jail, and the fact that I am where I am today, with SHEATH and the success of SHEATH, we're very blessed. And I remember when I was thinking what I was going to do when I got out, I was like, the best case scenario is I would be a janitor. And I was like, it's so crazy to think that was my mind state at that time. But, obviously that didn't happen. And
right. Yeah, it's interesting because I've said this before, probably on our podcast together, but also my own show, which is, for some reason, I had this idea at around high school that like the highest thing I could be was a computer salesman at Best Buy. Like I thought if I had that job, like my life would be a success.
Right.
If I could just sell computers, because I was really into computers and gaming, and I was like, dude, I like to stand around and tell people about graphics cards and RAM and memory, and I play World of Warcraft and like talk to people and like vibe with them on that level. Obviously that didn't happen, but so much more did. So much more that I would have never thought. I would have started my own company, be co-founder with you for a company that's doing really well. Played as many shows live as I have, and impacted so many people through the music, really cool. Through the yoga, through just space holding, community building, and all this stuff. It's like I would have never thought I could do this, and that's why we need to be thankful, because not only have we done that, but we can continue to do that, and that's like that only comes with a level of gratitude, I think, and not taking things for granted and comparing and like getting bent out of shape or bitter because someone else has more millions or whatever the fuck. It's like there's so much beauty to that we have at our fingertips. So we just have to own it and be present enough to like recognize it.
You mentioned the company founded Time Wheel. Which I'm co-owner-ish, on the board, I think. But how's that going?
So we recently transitioned to a nonprofit model, which I think we talked about on our last podcast. And it just made sense because the music industry, if people, are anything like me who listen to podcasts about the music industry and keep up with I just have like an interest in the business of music. It's a nasty place. It's not nice. Like record labels are constantly taking advantage of artists, fucking them over. Just having terrible business practices, being like, I'm not even going to talk to you. Like, talk to my 3 liaisons under me or whatever the fuck it is. And they're like, I can't even talk to my label, and like all this like, dark, nasty business, shady stuff. And I was, after an amount of time realizing we're a record label, I didn't really feel comfortable with trying to profit off of the artists, because if anything, I'm trying to support them further.
Right.
So I never felt good about trying to strike a deal. I was just like, I almost don't want a deal. I almost just want to help you, and I want nothing out of it. And after enough times of that, you had mentioned it, a handful of other people have mentioned it. They were like, that's like kind of like a nonprofit. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Let me look into that. And then over time, we were like, oh, this is a nonprofit. So we switched to that, and it's more of like a community building artist support system. So we don't make a ton of money. We don't have a ton of products, but I feel like we're helping people and doing the things that make us feel good. And supporting art and music, film, podcasts in a way that's easy, like for us, but also for them. We're not asking a bunch of the people that we're helping. And I don't know, it's just like a win-win. And I would hope as time goes on, we get better at supporting the artists. We're able to support them better financially, and not just like with like social media promo and putting them on our website and that type of thing. But it's kind of in a transitionary phase right now. Like we're kind of letting go of the whole money-making aspect, the whole agency aspect, and like just trying to find a way to build more community and support artists in a better way.
I know, like when you first started, to me, it was always like about art and artists, but like cool, psychedelic kind of art. And you would get these crazy views on your posts on like Facebook and Instagram. And then they changed the algorithm, and that kind of like dwindled a lot of the presence that you have. But now I'm seeing it back in my feed. If you follow Time Wheel on Instagram, it's always like these really cool artistic graphical like designs. I mean, it's like art depictions,
Right.
and so now I'm starting to see it again. I don't know if you've noticed a change in the algorithm.
Well, I think just as with Sheath, they switched to Reels,
Yeah.
and for a long time we were focused on photos.
Yes.
And so once I started to see, Reels are what's being prioritized in the Instagram algorithm, I was just like, I need to start pulling some videos, up and doing videos more. And as we did definitely see a boost of awareness and some more followers and the more views than normal. Because I used to definitely be focused a lot on photos, like images of art or even images of text, like what you might call a meme or a quote card.
Right.
So we're just focusing more on video now, and definitely the algorithm's favoring that, and it's cool. It's still artistic expression. We get to pair music with it, kind of get the brand out there, but also provide cool content for people to get inspired by.
Do you have a Time Wheel TikTok?
There is. Yeah, we have one follower. I think it's Zach Jewell.
Yeah, he's always supporting.
He's our one follower. But I haven't got on that. So TikTok isn't my cup of tea. Of course, I hear weird things about it politically, like it's a Chinese spy operation. And they can read your data and your contacts and your text messages when you have it installed on your app. I still have it installed, so I'm still getting spied on, but I just don't really like to spend a lot of time there.
There's so many different apps. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but I'll say like there's definitely good content there. There's enjoyable content on TikTok. There's too many things for me to focus on to add yet another thing, I think, to do
check
every
out
day.
the Sheath TikTok, Sheath underwear TikTok, and it's cool. We're trying to get some more following there. But it is like, how many different social media platforms can we?
Yeah, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, podcast. Yeah. It's a shitload of stuff, like it's not easy. That's why people hire people to do it for them. And that's been my job in the past, and kind of is my job with Sheath. Because for the CEO to do all of that on top of running the business, that's just impossible.
Yeah, and we focus. I like YouTube. It's probably my favorite app. Shout out to YouTube. You'll be able to watch this here on YouTube or iTunes Music or Spotify or whatever. But I get most of my content from YouTube, if not just like listening to a podcast. And there's just it has everything you need. I don't need to go and of course I get on Instagram because a lot of the people we work with post on Instagram, and I like to see what they're doing for us, and we get a lot of cool content from that. But it's like TikTok is just another Instagram or YouTube version of media, and we forgot to mention Snapchat. I mean, it's like, geez, how many? I can't. I'm not doing it. But we're doing it. But we've outsourced TikTok to an extent, and we'll be doing a giveaway on TikTok here pretty soon. So if you want to follow us, go ahead and do that. But just it's madness. I mean, because it's not going to stop there. There's going to be another platform, and I guess there are. Like, I just thought of like Parler and all like. I think Ye bought Parler.
Oh, wow.
Or it became a heavy investor in there. And there was Gab, and
there's another one too, which I don't remember the name, but it was an interesting concept. I mean, I don't think I'll do it because, again, I don't want to keep stacking things to do. I'd rather do what I'm doing well than over, pack myself. I overextend myself. But it was interesting though, because what it does is the app will tell you, create a 30-second video right now, and it can't be curated because it's like it only gives you the chance to do it now. Okay. So whatever you're doing now is what you film. And then you see what everyone's doing now, rather than this like, I'm on the beach, but like actually I'm in bed posting the picture that I'm on the beach. It's like a real social platform because you can't post old videos. You can only post now when it gives you the chance to do it. I wish I'd remember the name of it. But that's an interesting concept. At least I think whoever came up with that's pretty smart.
Yeah, I remember I came up with the idea for Instagram. I think before Instagram came out, but it was just pictures. There wouldn't necessarily be any text, which it's morphed into what it is now. But I don't know. I took a picture of my hand reaching out, and I took a picture of it, and that was it would just be an image of kind of like what you're doing now. Maybe they should have called it now, but there's too many platforms. And
do you remember Foursquare?
Yes, where you check in.
Yeah, I like that one because I became the top level check-in at the Starbucks that I went to, for example.
Yep.
It was Matt checked in here 400 times, he's the number one check-inner. And I was yeah, I own this place,
Yeah, you should have bought stock in Starbucks way back in the day, probably, because you've been one of their biggest customers.
I know. I spend $50,000 a month there.
I used to, yeah. And I typically only go to Starbucks now if I'm traveling or if it's a really special occasion, because we just make our coffee at home, and I'm drinking half calf, just because the caffeine intake of society, it might be higher than it needs to be, because then you start doing double and triple and quad shots, and been there, done that. I'm trying to get to a baseline, and I mean my sleep has improved since I have been doing the half calf, so it might have play a part.
Definitely.
That adrenal rebuilder,
yeah,
Dr. Wilson's adrenal rebuilder that you
still taking that. I love it.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that if to anyone who's feeling sluggish over having maybe burnt out your adrenal glands from drinking too many hot shots.
Totally. Yeah, I would like to make coffee at home, but I do, and it doesn't work. I have to drink 2 or 3 cups to even get the buzz, and all of that acidity of 3 cups. It's almost not worth it, at that point, because now my stomach hurts. Now I have the buzz, but my stomach hurts, of all this acidity. So I do get the shots. If I could make espresso at home, that would probably be cool. Those are machines to get a good one. They're expensive, like the Volcano we were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sure it eventually will happen. But for now, I still use Starbucks. But we go to different coffee shops too. We like local coffee shops. We go there once a week. They're way more expensive, but it's okay because it's not a franchise and stuff,
supporting local.
Yeah,
we're trying to support local small businesses and get that back into the mix, so that these monopolies can't completely take over, like Amazon, which I purchase most of my products on because it's so convenient, and you can get it all in one place. And then if you need to do a return, you don't have to go back to this obscure website to do a return. You just do it at Amazon. But so I'm kind of acting what I just said about supporting local, but ideally I do shop at local, smaller, non-chain store places, because we're on Amazon and we have our own website, and you need to have consistency in pricing from all the different areas, where someone can buy it. But you have to play the game on Amazon because you're competing against all these other brands. So you sometimes have to make it cheaper on Amazon just to compete with the people that have sponsored ads right next to your product, which is kind of what I was saying back about Apple earlier, where you don't want your more expensive product next to these cheaper products because they're just going to buy the cheaper product. And I don't think you can buy Apple products on Amazon. Probably for that reason, you have to go specifically to Apple. But you also can, it's the most shopped platform in existence. And so if you want to get potentially new customers, or, just, you got to play the game, essentially.
Right. Well, one thing I like about what Sheath does is if a person genuinely asks for a discount, like more times than not, we accommodate them.
Yeah, you want to have a good customer experience. I know we have our warehouses, where we ship all our online orders from, but then we also have this small storefront here in Woodland Park, and I sold 2 pair of women's underwear to a lady that came by the other day, and we have a 100% money back guarantee, but it's on your first pair. Right. Okay. So she brings in both pairs out of the packaging, both worn. I don't even know why I took them back, because she handed them to me and I was kind of like thrown off by the whole situation. But because I didn't want to be like, I can only give you a refund for the first pair for whatever reason, because I didn't want to be difficult. She was asking for a refund. And sometimes we hold to the policy. Like if you email us or whatever, we have customer service reps that are going to be like, this is our policy and you can only refund the first pair. But in that, like every now and then, we make exceptions, because we're a small business and we do have that flexibility. But obviously if you tried on like 10 pairs and you return them all, and I actually told her it's typically only for 1 pair, but I'm going to do this, one time or whatever.
I think that's the right thing to do, is to say like, this isn't what we usually do, but we're going to make an exception for you.
Yeah.
But one other thing I think about it is, if that person's really coming back for a refund, they must really need it. You know what I mean? Because like I buy stuff sometimes and it's like, it didn't work for me. I don't want to go through the headache.
Exactly.
Of driving to a place and asking for this and that and spending an hour of my time. I'd rather just say it didn't work,
Exactly.
So if they need it that bad, may as well try and help.
Yeah, and that's what we do with the discounts. Like if you see it full priced and you really want it but you can't afford it, email our customer service and say, yo, can I get, I want to try it. Can you give me a discount this one time or whatever? I pretty much guarantee we're going to say yes. So at least for your first purchase, or if you wanted to be like, I tried them, I love them, but I want to buy like 13 pairs or 30 pairs. Can you work with me on that? We're a small company. We can make things happen. So when we're here, my boss, I'm the CEO, but my boss is the customer. And so you guys let us know what you want, and we try to do our best to accommodate that. We never want to, have an upset customer leaving and telling a story about how we didn't do some small thing that we could have easily done, like that story you just told about Lowe's.
Absolutely. So, that's an interesting topic, though. I was going to say, just as a side note, that the one thing we can never get back in our life is the time.
I know.
Once the time is spent, it's gone for good. Like you can get $1 back, you can get your money back, you can get so many things back, but like the one thing you can never get back is your time, and it's valuable. So that's why I kind of think like, is it worth it for me to drive to this place and get my $11, or is me having my 1 hour more valuable? Sometimes that's way more valuable.
Yeah, the hour is way more valuable. Plus then you got to haggle with them maybe, or it's like this uncomfortable situation. And if you have absolutely nothing going on in your life, maybe it's not a huge deal. But yeah, I can't imagine taking the time to drive into town, do return just for a minimal amount of money. I will donate it. I'll just donate whatever I bought that I don't want. Usually, I don't throw stuff away very much because I hate wasting things. But somebody, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and somebody will like the thing that I bought.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's like hundreds and thousands of dollars, yes, I might go return it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But if it's just something that didn't work and it's a little knickknack, it's like, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Well, it's been an honor to spend this time with you again. Like I wish, I wish we could spend more time together. I feel like I'm working a lot, but we're getting a balance now. I've hired someone to help here at the store, at the warehouse, and I'm getting some of my time back. But we had to get things running smoothly, which everything's running really smoothly. If you guys order from SHEATHunderwear.com, we're going to ship it out within 24 hours, unless there's some weird anomaly. Usually same day. We have one order that's been sitting there for 5 days, but he put his wrong address. He didn't put a street number. Obviously, you're not going to send it with no number on the street. So typically, we should send everything out same day. If you have any issues, you can come to us. We're going to take care of you. You got these two guys here, like manning the company, or managing the company, and so we try to be good people. You can listen to Matt's podcast, the
Xian Archive.
Okay, I was going to say Time Wheel for some reason.
You can find that on timewheel.net, as well as this podcast on timewheel.net.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know I was on there.
Yeah. All the podcasts are on there. But my podcast is Xian Archive, Xian Archive. And that's kind of my artist alias is Xian. So that's why we call it the Xian Archive, because it's the archive of my conversations. And check out Time Wheel at Time Wheel on Instagram. We have a Facebook as well. We don't really do that much on Facebook anymore, but we have a YouTube as well. You can find all that at timewheel.net. And we're doing yoga in San Antonio. If you're interested in yoga, you can follow Bodaishin on Instagram. Kind of a hard thing to spell, but Bodaishin, Bodaishin, and you'll see our yoga events there. Pretty much only San Antonio for right now, but I'm sure things will go to Austin and Colorado before long.
Beautiful. Yeah, I spaced on the Xian Archive. I have it on my playlist. I don't know. But anyways, Xian Archive, Matt Humble, Xian. Matt Xian. You have a bunch of different names with Bodaishin, yoga, and doing a lot of great things. So keep up the good work, building up good karmic presence. Thank you everyone for joining us. This is another episode of the Robert Patton Global Podcast. We will see you next week. Make sure to tune in for our live streams on our SHEATH YouTube channel. We do them every Saturday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.